Ron Mamdani will be sworn in as mayor, but we will have to wait and see who will be the next Speaker of the City Council. Our guests on this Sunday, two lawmakers vying for the second most powerful elected position in the city. Council members Christopher Marte of Manhattan and Selvena Brooks Powers of Queens. And later, remembering Brooklyn's first Black district attorney, the legacy of Kenneth Thompson, a trailblazer in law enforcement. All that and more in a moment, but first, in all, 5 candidates now in the running for Speaker. The general public doesn't vote for this one. Instead, it's old school backroom politics among the 51 members of the City Council. Here's Kelly Mena.
In a room filled with the city's business and civic leaders, the candidates vying to be the next Speaker of the City Council pitched their vision for the city's future. The hour-long forum was filled with questions about working with the real estate and business communities, as well as how they would respond to the threats of federal cuts. 2 of the leading contenders spoke to us ahead of the forum and had this to say about their pitch to the business community.
I think this council has seen for the last 4 years what an adversarial relationship looks like between both sides of City Hall. What I'm looking to do is offer a productive working relationship with the other side of City Hall while also holding the mayor accountable.
We need to make sure that we are creating jobs, that we're creating the economic revenue that supports this city, because by creating that economic revenue, it allows us to build more affordable housing, to do universal childcare, to build more parks. All of the urgent things that the city needs depend on a strong and vibrant economy.
It will be the 51 council member body that will be voting on the next speaker. A winner is not expected until later this year.
In the moment that we are in right now, we need a leader that is going to be one that could be a coalition builder, that brings people together in a moment where there's so much division politically, within government, and across different audiences. This is kind of like the nerdy, wonky part of me, but I love effective leadership because I love structure. I like scheduling. I love knowing, what's coming next, and that really is effective to how people also get to lead in their own respective.
We're going to reform every single facet of the City Council. Reform legislative process, how to introduce bills, which bills get a hearing, which bills get a vote, the budget process, which many people in this room are always frustrated about because it seems like at the end of the cycle, we're fighting for the most important thing.
That's Kelly Mena reporting for us on this Sunday. Let's begin today's conversation with Manhattan City Councilman Christopher Marte. Councilman, good to see you.
Great to see you too. Thank you for having me on.
It's a pleasure. You're in the running to be the next Speaker of the City Council, and you want to enact 26 reforms to bring democracy back to City Hall. Explain what you mean by bringing democracy back to City Hall.
Yeah, so for the first time ever, I'm running a speaker race that's public, that's putting my ideas out there. We released a platform called 26 for 26, and it changes a lot of facets of the City Council, from the legislative front to the budget front to even just the culture that we have in the council and how council members could be empowered.
And explain how these reforms that you're proposing would set clear benchmarks for legislation.
I'll give you one example. Until recently, we had a bill with 47 council members on it. 47 out of 51 council members. That's a super majority. However, it didn't even get a hearing or even a vote. And what I want to do is add thresholds where if you get a majority of the City Council on a bill, that's 26 council member, it automatically gets a hearing. If it gets 34, which is a veto-proof majority, so that means the mayor can't kill it, then it has to go to a vote. By adding these thresholds, it allows council members to understand what they need to do to be successful, but it also allows activists, advocates, unions to know that if they organize the council, then they could get their issue to finally be a reality.
And why didn't it make it out of, you said for the vast majority, 47 of 51, why didn't it? Is it backdoor politics?
It's backdoor politics, and it just shows how much power the speaker has.
Yeah.
The speaker controls which bills get introduced, get heard, and eventually get voted on. However, the public doesn't vote for the speaker. So you're giving someone power that isn't democratically elected. What I want to do is to weaken the power of the speaker, but empower the City Council, because you were elected from your community to advocate for your residents, and you should be able to come to City Hall and deliver, whether that's on bringing money back to your district or really fighting for an issue that your district cares for and being able to pass legislation.
But Councilman, there is a need for a speaker, right?
Yeah.
Someone has to guide all the traffic
Yeah.
that's coming in. So why would you want to weaken the power?
I think it's just doing it in a different style. You know, to compare it to sports a little bit, it's like being a player's coach. You know, understanding that every player on your team is extremely important, extremely different. They might have different opinions, and that's okay, right? As speaker, I am gonna let folks know that it's okay to disagree with me, and I'm not gonna penalize you for disagreeing with me. And we're gonna work together, and we're gonna try to move forward together, because right now, if you vote no in the New York City Council budget, right? We had a few council members 2 years ago that voted no. Those council members lost their chairship for important committees and lost money for their districts. We're talking about some of the most vulnerable districts like East New York, where they need money for infrastructure and public housing. They need their roads repaired. But just because their council member was taking a stand and saying that this budget doesn't reflect my community's values, they were stripped of all the resources that they could bring back.
You're a member of the Progressive Caucus, right? And you have relationships across the aisle. Why is that important?
I think it's extremely important because to be a progressive says that you want to bring reform, that you want to bring change. And we've seen through the history of the speakerships, and even before there was a speaker, where council members would come and say, let's add new reforms. And now we take it for granted. One of the best ones is Benjamin Davis. He was a council member at large from Harlem. He's the one that created district offices, something that you would think you couldn't even do the job today without. But people thought it was an impossible thing to do. People thought it was a radical thing to do to bring government to the people. He did it, and it really changed city government forever.
And quickly, here comes the Mamdani administration, a whole new group of leaders coming in. What are your thoughts about that? Are you excited to work with this new leadership?
I'm super excited to work with them. You know, there's a lot of alignment with my values and the way that New Yorkers have given us a mandate to tackle the affordability crisis, whether that's through freezing rents or providing universal childcare. But as speaker and as a member of the city council, we also have to keep him accountable, right? There is a check and balance, and I'm really excited to work with him when we're together, but also help him improve city government, right? I think that's what the oversight is used for, to find the inefficiencies, to find sometimes the corruption and say this has to change, whether it's passing legislation or making sure that the money is going to the people that need it.
Well, appreciate you coming on. Good luck in your run for speakership, and the best to you and yours this holiday season. City Council member Christopher Marte, thanks for your time. Still to come, Queens Council member Selvena Brooks Powers explains why she wants to be the next speaker. And later, a special honor for Congresswoman Yvette Clarke at Brooklyn College. We'll be right back. Thanks for staying with us. Joining us now is Queens City Council member and Majority Whip Selvena Brooks Powers. Council member, good to see you.
Good to see you as well.
Yeah, and you also are running to be the next city council speaker, and you're stressing the need for a leader to be one that's going to be a coalition builder and bring people together during a time of political division. Explain more.
Sure, and thank you for the question and the opportunity to be here with you today, Cheryl. Right now, the voters have spoken loud and clear. They have sent a mandate to City Hall, a mandate on the mayor's side as well as on the council side. But most of all, voters are looking for their elected officials to deliver. They want to move away from the division that they've been seeing and understand how is government showing up for them. As Majority Whip in the City Council, I've been able to work to unite very diverse blocks across the spectrum around every piece of legislation that has come through the council. I'm an experienced policymaker. In January, I will be entering into my 6th budget on the city level. And right now, I'm looking to not be a check on the incoming mayor, and not pledge my allegiance to the mayor, but pledge my allegiance to the voters that sent us to do the work in City Hall.
Yeah, now if you are elected Speaker, you have talked about creating a new subcommittee focused on the federal government with all of the funding threats that are coming from the White House. Tell us more about that.
Absolutely. So what we have seen already from the Trump administration has been a gross overreach of power, whether it's sending ICE into our communities to threaten the safety and mental well-being, quite honestly, of a lot of these residents that are in our communities, but also in terms of taking money away from critical infrastructure projects here, whether it's the Second Avenue station or our public safety. And we need to be proactive and not reactive in being able to defend New Yorkers against the attacks and the overreach by the Trump administration. This standalone subcommittee would be focused on being able to prepare, to plan, and to safeguard for New Yorkers. And it's in a time where we need to move away from fragmented oversight, really beef up our committees to make sure that they have the sufficient staff that they need to do the work. And this is something to protect all New Yorkers. And I'm looking forward to having the opportunity to serve my colleagues in the City Council. I hope that they vote for me as their next speaker, where we would be able to implement this subcommittee.
Yeah, and you have said that you want to keep the Speaker's gavel in Southeast Queens and follow in the footsteps of the outgoing Speaker, Adrienne Adams. What do you admire most about her leadership, and how do you plan to follow in her footsteps?
So what I will say is that our current Speaker was elected in a moment that was very unique in history in terms of being in the midst of a global pandemic and having to navigate a lot of crisis, whether it was this council, this body, passing legislation to expand access to city FEPs, also to protect women's rights when Roe v. Wade was overturned. But as Speaker, I am looking forward to serving this body in a way that we create harmony within the body, bridging together our differences internally and being unified externally so that we are doing the work and not having the distraction lead us. And so I think it's really important right now as we go into these next 4 years, because of the threat that's coming from Washington, to be in a position to deliver and to be able to protect the interests of New Yorkers.
Yeah, and you spoke of harmony. We had Speaker Adams on a few weeks ago, and she explained how the relationship between the City Council and the Mayor's office broke down. Here comes a new administration, of course, the Mamdani administration. If elected Speaker, how would you collaborate with Mamdani and his incoming leadership?
Absolutely. So the way I view it is the City Council is a co-governance body. Our role is to work alongside the mayor as an equal partner. And where we align, I think there will be opportunity for us to come together and to petition to Albany when it comes to the budget and other critical issues that of most importance to New Yorkers. And again, November 4th, there was a loud mandate in terms of wanting to see deliverance around affordability. And right now, entering into the upcoming budget, we are faced with a $6 billion gap potentially. And so we are going to need to have open lines of communication where we are able to navigate this as partners within government. But again, my role as Speaker is not to be a check or to pledge my allegiance to the mayor. It's to be a partner and to be able to focus on getting results for New Yorkers.
Okay, Queens City Council member and Majority Whip Selvena Brooks Powers, the best to you this holiday season. Thank you. Time for another break. In Focus continues right after this. And now a flashback from our New York One archives. October 9th, 2016, some 9 years ago, Brooklyn District Attorney Kenneth Thompson dies after a battle with colorectal cancer. He was 50 years old. Thousands packed Christian Cultural Center in Brooklyn to bid farewell to the borough's first black DA, eulogized as a champion of justice.
Why do bad things happen to good people? I haven't been able to figure out an answer to that question, but I do know we still serve a good God.
We in law enforcement have lost one of our brightest lights, one of our stars.
Thompson beat longtime DA Charles Hines. His victory was seen as a testament to his years of work as a civil rights attorney, and as Brooklyn's top prosecutor, he implemented policies that prioritized rehabilitation over mass incarceration.
We can't have different standards of justice based on where you live in Brooklyn. Every community in Brooklyn has to be treated the same.
Thompson's legacy lives on. In 2021, his family and friends gathered in downtown Brooklyn to co-name J Street in his honor. We're going to switch gears now and talk about a major issue that everyone's dealing with, the affordability and healthcare crisis. Joining us now is Abdou, Chief Health Equity Officer at EmblemHealth. Thanks for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. And Mr. Ba, happy Thanksgiving to you. Let me tell you, this is going to be a tough holiday season for so many. And EmblemHealth, a nonprofit, has been providing a safety net for so many New Yorkers who can't put food on the table. Explain how EmblemHealth is helping.
Yeah, first of all, thank you for having me. And I think it's very important to highlight when we think about supporting our community as a nonprofit, New York-based organization, it's our job to make sure we're supporting New Yorkers. It's our job to think about how do we help members get access to food, but also think about our communities in general. We've launched some initiatives in the community where we're supporting by providing food, but also providing access to care, and we believe that that's equally important.
Yeah, it's equally important, especially this time of year. Explain how EmblemHealth is making sure New Yorkers are not nickel and dimed when getting care.
Great question. I think the first starts with just ensuring that we're supporting members by helping them find the care, right? When you think about access to care, there's a lot of doctors, there's a lot of navigation that's required, and we believe that our number one job is to ensure that we're providing the support to maximize the benefit, maximize their health outcome. The second piece is as we think about connecting to social services, right? When we assess members for food security, when we assess members for transportation or housing, as we identify those opportunities, it's our job to ensure that we're connecting members to those. And I think that's important.
Very important. And when SNAP was paused, EmblemHealth stepped up.
Yes.
And there were locations all over the city handing out food.
Yes.
Explain the impact of that. What did your workers see during that time?
Yeah, so being part of the fabric of New York, being in our communities, our first step as we think about investing in our communities and supporting our communities was to understand the needs of our population, needs of our community. And food was one that we've identified. In some of our communities, as we screen members for food insecurity, we've identified about 35% of the members needed access. So our second step was really ensuring that we were connecting folks with resources by doing food drives, by doing events, and identifying across the city location where we can lend a hand. And the job is not just a one and done, but to also think about this as a lasting activity, obviously through the holidays, but also thinking about more support that we can provide, such as helping people manage their condition. Recently, we launched an initiative around diabetes and helping folks understand their condition, understand what should they be eating, and where can they find the support that they need to manage their chronic condition.
Yeah, if the Affordable Care Act subsidies are not renewed, and it looks like they won't be, there are going to be millions of New Yorkers who don't have health insurance going into the new year. How is EmblemHealth preparing for that?
Yeah, so obviously to your point about there's changes coming ahead of the benefits and access to care. I think our first step is really educating folks about options that are available. What are the health plans? Throughout New York City, we have what we call our neighborhood care location, which are community-based resources that anybody from the community can walk in and be able to ask questions, get some support, be able to identify resources that are available to them and help them be connected to those resources, which may include doing screenings, which may include getting access to food.
That's great. So how can people learn more about EmblemHealth and how can they sign up?
Great question. From an EmblemHealth standpoint, I'll first start with the food initiative. If you're in need of food at this moment, we have a website that has EmblemHealth/food that will provide you all upcoming food drives events that we have where you can have access to food, and we believe that's the first step. The second piece is those neighborhood cares become those centerpiece location that allows you to learn about services that we offer.
Well, listen, the best to you and yours again this holiday season. EmblemHealth certainly does a great deal of work in helping New Yorkers, not just during the holiday, but all year round. Thanks for being here. Abdou, Chief Health Equity Officer at EmblemHealth.
Thank you.
And now, our final focus. Brooklyn Congressmember Yvette Clarke gets a special honor. Brooklyn College awards Clarke its Presidential Medal of Honor, recognizing her commitment to civic leadership and support of higher education.
The medal symbolizes our deepest gratitude for your unwavering commitment to justice, equity, and the people of Brooklyn. Your leadership and vision inspire students and citizens alike. On behalf of the entire Brooklyn College community, congratulations and thank you for embodying the very best of our borough and our nation.
Clarke's career started in the city council where she succeeded her mother, the legendary Una Clarke, making them the first mother-daughter duo to serve consecutively in the council's history. Hey, thanks so much for watching In Focus. I'm Cheryl Wills. The best to you and yours on Thanksgiving.